A tragic update for the once missing Titanic tourist submersible. All 5 passengers aboard the vessel have died. Today, the Coast Guard confirmed their demise, announcing there was a catastrophic implosion during their deep-sea dive to view the Titanic wreckage. Could this change the future of oceanic exploration? I'm sure it will. Let's bring in our guest tonight to talk about it, Nick Radford of Nauticus Robotics and maritime law expert and attorney Frank Spagnoletti. Glad to have you all here on The Factor. First of all, for those who don't realize, Nick, what an implosion is when it comes to a submersible, what is that?
Well, I think it's worth thinking about the conditions and where it's actually at. So when you're talking 4,000 meters underwater, which is approximately the depth of where this was at, every 10 meters you go down in depth, you're feeling one more atmosphere of pressure. So the structural strength would have to withstand something having the Empire State Building pressed on all sides of it at the same time.
Wow.
So there's a considerable amount of force acting on this structure. So in pressures that extreme, if there's any breach of the hull, the result is pretty instantaneous and pretty catastrophic. So all the air and all the water, rather, rushes in under that extreme pressure, and it's a pretty bad scenario.
Now, we're hearing that the Navy may have heard through their high-tech technology, like when this initially happened, like Sunday, they heard something, but there was no definitive proof or evidence that it had imploded.
Well, something that would go through a catastrophic implosion would make a large sound. And so, as evidenced by the fact that, as the Coast Guard has reported and other people have reported, that when the sonobuoys were dropped in, they didn't hear any sound like an implosion. So one could argue that it happened before that. So I have read and there are reports that there was that sound. So it stands to reason that this probably happened earlier after they lost contact.
Frank Spagnoletti, you are an attorney. You're an expert at maritime law.
Thank you.
This is a tragedy. Horrible. You have lost 5 lives, and when you take a look at the technology and how it was put together, and you hear about a video game controller and one button on the door, and that's it. Your thoughts on this as an attorney?
Look, my thoughts on it as an attorney is going on a mission like this for pleasure is tantamount to taking a trip even more extreme than climbing Mount Everest. Obviously, there are inherent risks in it. Obviously, people know that there are risks in it. However, I do believe that based on what I've heard, perhaps not all the precautions were taken that should have been taken, or maybe disclosed to those who were going on board this vacation, so to speak, or this expedition. Mm-hmm. Not only with regard to I can't really comment on the technology with regard to the controller, okay, whether or not my friend here may be able to comment on that or not. I don't know the technical aspects. But what I do know is that there didn't seem to be a lot of concern with regard to what if something went wrong. Are we using the right materials in this hull? There was a question about whether or not he should even be using the materials that the hull was made out of. And there are some quotes where he's saying, I know that I'm violating rules, I'm taking risks, but I'm pushing. Well, that's fine if you want to do that as an experiment, but when you're marketing it to the public, I don't think you should be able to do that, and you shouldn't do that unless those folks know that you don't know whether or not it's safe or not. You want to do that with your own life?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, but
really
not
quick,
with the tourist.
People have signed waivers when they went down, but that doesn't mean a damn thing to attorneys when you guys get into court.
Well, it doesn't mean a damn thing when you sign an attorney by being fully informed. Were they fully informed that he was taking risks with regard to the materials in the hull? Were they fully informed with regard to...
What if that waiver says 3 times you can die?
Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Of course you can die. You can die in a plane crash, but that doesn't mean that you can make it so that I am going to die. Mm-hmm. You can't have a defective let's say, vessel in this case, and say, oh, well, it's dangerous to be in this vessel, but you know that it may be experimental. And that's what the problem I have with this. This was kind of, it's fine if you're doing it for scientific purposes, and your job, your company is doing experimental testing, and you undertake the risk like a test pilot.
It's okay for you, not everyone
But not
else.
a consumer.
Right.
These were consumers, number of them. I mean, one of the fellow from Pakistan, I think, had his son with him. It's not right.
Do you see a change in rules and regulations when it comes to submersibles, especially when we're talking about private entities where there are, like Frank said, consumers involved?
Well, I think it's critical to think through. There was a lot of innovative things about the vehicle, their carbon fiber hull, and innovation has, the price of innovation and the progress of innovation sometimes has consequences. You know, I think it was classed as an experimental vehicle, and so whether that was known or not perfectly, but it was an experimental vehicle, and with that comes a certain inherent risk. There are agencies and regulatory bodies that do govern the construction of these kind of vehicles. So, but you know, there's inherent risks with everything that we do, and.
But do you think there should be rules in place that say you cannot take something down that you're experimenting with consumers, like, you know, like a roller coaster?
I think, you know, if this becomes more prolific and there's a tourism industry built more en masse about this, I think that will naturally arise, right? I think one of the things about our free market society is that bad ideas tend to fall away, and so I think things over time will settle out. But again, I'll just state that there are governing bodies for this, but when you get into the experimental vehicle category, that's when the rules relax.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on The Factor. We want to send our condolences to the families. Just a tragic situation. Everyone has been watching this non-stop, hoping for the best, and of course, we have our answer tonight.